Welcome to episode 7 of Around the AJHL. My name is Nathan Crosby from the Brooks Bandits, alongside Brandon Ewanchyshyn from the Spruce Grove Saints. Lots to talk about on the episode today, Brandon. And our special guest, we got a good one this week, Ty Mueller, forward for the Sherwood Park Crusaders, will be joining us in a few moments. Got to watch Ty firsthand this past weekend because we were up in Sherwood Park, of course, for a couple games. Let's recap the weekend. We got back into the action after a weekend off with the new cohorts, Brandon, and some interesting results around the province. I guess I'll start with Brooks. 2 games in Sherwood Park. I thought the Friday night game closer than the final score indicated. It ended up being 9-3, but it was 2-2 midway through the second period, and then things kind of broke loose after that. Then the Saturday game, Sherwood Park ends up scoring 3 straight in the second period, going up 3-2. Bandits tie it and then force overtime, and 47 seconds in, Zach Bookman gets the winner, his first ever AJHL goal. So the Bandits end up winning both games, but I was pretty impressed by what is a young Sherwood Park team.
Yeah, for sure. A great competition throughout the league once again here in this next cohort round. The Calgary Canucks, Nathan, they win both this past weekend over the Olds Grizzlies, so congratulations to them. The Fort McMurray Oil Barons, GP Storm, they each split one. GP gets that win in a shootout on Friday, and then Fort Mac comes back 24 hours later and wins 7-3. Bonnyville, they win both against the Whitecourt Wolverines, but Whitecourt, as I'm sure you saw by their lineup card, were still a little under the weather as they only had about 2.5 lines per game to play the Pontiacs with. So a tough seat for the Wolverines to even play those games, but only losing by a pair of goals in both of them. The Spruce Grove Saints, they win both games this weekend over the Drayton Valley Thunder. Both come from behind victories, and both actually were 4-3 final scores. So interesting note there as well. But Nathan, what do you see from an analyst perspective this weekend?
Well, it was great to be back, first of all. And let's start with the Whitecourt Wolverines. I mean, what a difficult spot for them to be in. When they tweeted out their lineup, I can't remember the last time I've ever seen that before. So hats off to the Wolverines for gutting it out and getting through the weekend with what was obviously a difficult situation. And, and kudos to the Bonnyville Pontiacs for being professional. But I saw a tweet afterwards from Rick Swan's account talking about how they were at the Fast Gas and the employee there said they were such great kids and, outstanding gentlemen. So you love seeing that too, off the ice with these things. The other thing, let's go back to the Calgary Canucks for a second. I mean, that is a team that it's been tough. It's been tough sledding for the Canucks, and they hadn't had a regular season win yet this year. And so I'm sure that was a huge sense of relief for them. And to do it in a shutout for Adam Dimiturko, who I got to watch a lot because we were in a cohort with the Canucks. He's been an awesome addition to that team since coming over from Battlefords of the SJHL. He was really good against the Brooks Bandits in our 6 games we played them, and very deserving of a shutout over the Olds Grizzlies. And then they beat him again on the weekend. So 2 wins for the Calgary Canucks. I know it's been a tough year for them. So that's a positive story out of the South Division this past weekend.
Spruce Grove, a couple come from behind victories. They found themselves down 1-0 and then 2-1, and both times they're able to come back and win here at the Grant Field Arena on Friday night and then in Drayton Valley on Sunday afternoon. Levi Hall, actually, local kid from just down the road, 8 minutes down the road is where he grew up. Grandson of Hall of Fame goaltender Glenn Hall, Stanley Cup.
Oh, no way.
Well, picks up his first career AJHL win on Sunday afternoon's game. So really cool story there for Levi Hall. And I'm sure his grandfather, who was at home in Stony Plain, following along, was able to put a smile on his face when he saw his grandson pick up his first Junior A win. That's really cool.
I love hearing of the stories around the league of players now that are sons of former players. You look at Braden Morrison with the Okotoks Oilers, his dad, Brendan, who we've seen many times when we go to Okotoks. So that's really cool to see. I didn't know that about Hall. That's awesome. And of course, we had Cade Mason on the episode or on the podcast or whatever we're calling this now a few weeks ago. And of course, he's a relative of Chris Mason, the former NHLer, who's now an analyst with the Nashville Predators. And isn't there another one, Brandon, that's related to Matt Devlin, the voice of the Toronto Raptors?
Yeah, Ian Devlin, you betcha, plays for GP. He's the defenseman, good buddies with Cade Mason, as we talked about on that episode. And yeah, like you said, he's the TV play-by-play voice of the Raps, and it was a fun run to watch him when the Raps went and won the finals a few seasons ago.
Well, we got to get Matt Devlin on, I think, Around the AJHL. That'd be an awesome guest. But I want to ask you about Spruce Grove, because you were there, obviously. Would you say that was the Saints' best weekend in this return to play so far?
I think so, yeah. I'm going to give Bram Stephen a lot of credit. We were matched up against Fort McMurray first off. They're a pretty good team. They're probably the best team right now in the North Division. It'd be interesting to see if we had some kind of playoffs this year, what would happen and who would come out on top. But he's taken this team from, a not so good look against Fort McMurray in that game 2 in Fort Mac to back-to-back wins. And the Saints are now on a 3-game winning streak for the first time in this return to play. So I give Bram Stephen a lot of credit. In that game on Sunday, the Saints were down 1. The shots were 6-0 for Drayton Valley. He called a timeout, and then the shot clock suddenly read 9-6 in the Saint favor after that timeout, and the game was tied at 1. So whatever he said on the bench and whatever he's doing in practice, is working, because I think that was, the best weekend for the Saints so far in this return to play. And you mentioned the NHL and Glenn Hall and some of the notable relationships. We had another AJHL player sign his NHL entry-level contract this past week. Dylan Holloway from the Okotoks Oilers signs with, guess who? The Edmonton Oilers. That's only fitting.
Awesome to see. Congratulations to Dylan Holloway and his family. It's been really fun to watch his career he was a lot of fun to watch when he played for Okotoks, not so much for Bandit fans because he was very good, but since then,
Saints fans included.
Every fan of any team in the AJ, but good on Dylan Holloway, and he was great at Wisconsin, great at the World Juniors, and I think he's going to be great for the Edmonton Oilers. And so we're obviously, as a league, have to be very proud to see another player with his entry level contract. Oh, one other thing, Brandon, speaking of the NHL that I think we should definitely touch on is TSN came out with their midseason draft rankings on Monday, and Bandits defenseman Corson Kuhlman's ranked 18th on Bob McKenzie's list. So that's awesome, and can't wait to see where Corson lands. The draft coming up in July 23rd and 24th. Before then, he's going to play at the World Under-18s in Texas, which begin next Monday, April 26th. Actually, I have the schedule here, just in case people were wondering. Canada's first game is Tuesday, April 27th. All the 4 round-robin games will all be at 8 o'clock. They'll play Sweden on Tuesday, Latvia on Wednesday, Switzerland on Friday, and Belarus on Saturday, May 1st.
Very good for the Brooks Bandits and the AJHL. Kuhlman's, like you said, ranked 18th for the upcoming NHL draft. Set to compete down south in Texas with Team Canada at the World Under-18s. Nathan, where can people watch the tournament? Where can people follow along?
So as far as I know, the games will be on TSN. They're going to have select games. That's what Hockey Canada is saying. So I assume that means that the Canada games will be on TSN. And then who knows, maybe they'll show some of the other ones as well. I can't confirm that, but though definitely the Canada games for sure. So we'll get to watch him, and we'll get to watch a tournament that I think sometimes kind of got lost in the shuffle, because this is usually a very busy time of the hockey calendar. And, this is definitely going to, I think, draw a lot of attention. And as to my knowledge, it's the first IIHF tournament to be held in Texas. So that's great, growing the game in Texas as well. The American team will be very strong as well. So Canada not in a pool with the United States. I would say the United States is in the more difficult pool with Russia and Finland. Canada's with Sweden, Belarus, Latvia, Switzerland, and Latvia, and Sweden. So obviously that first game against Sweden will be a tough test for them.
Like you said, though, it should be a great tournament to watch. And credit to TSN, first off, showing the NCAA tournament, the national championship game, and now the U18s as well. So great to see that content being provided to people within Canada that can take a look at how good college hockey is and how good these junior A and college players really are. As Around the AJHL continues, we are now joined by Ty Mueller of the Sherwood Park Crusaders. Ty, take us through this past weekend. You're back on the ice after a little bit of a break. You take on the Brooks Bandits.
Yeah, I thought obviously it's not how we wanted the games to go, but I thought we played pretty well, especially in the second game. We cleaned up a couple things and were able to take them to overtime, so that was good.
How did it feel, being back on the ice after we had the weekend off before, and you're taking on the Brooks Bandits?
It wasn't too bad. Obviously, we practiced all week, so we were still on the ice quite a bit, and then just had a couple days off on the weekend, but it wasn't too bad. And then we had that full week of practice too, right before. So
the season's been kind of weird. You started playing, you took a break, you're now back playing again. How's it been for yourself going through the ebbs and flows of this really wacky season?
yeah, it's definitely been an interesting one, that's for sure. It hasn't been too bad. I'm lucky enough to have a good setup at home. So when I went home, I just kept training, hoping that we'd get back at it. And sure enough, we finally did. And I was feeling pretty good when I came back. Felt I was still in pretty good shape. So it hasn't been too bad.
Looking at your roster, Ty, I mean, there's a lot of rookies on this team, a lot of guys that are in their first year. And what a first year to experience being in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. How have you guys rallied around everyone and the team and got through this?
It's been not too bad. We had so at the start of the year, we obviously had a lot different roster than we do now. Brought in a bunch of young guys once we came back here, and everyone's been pretty well. We've got a great core. We all gelled pretty quick, and it's been pretty good. Obviously not ideal for the young guys coming in, but what can you do?
Well, yeah, because it must have been, and I hate to bring this up, but just the last year has been just a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, Sherwood Park last year, you guys had such an unbelievable team and a run there in the regular season, and such a tragic end to what was going to be a very promising run. How do you move on from that and move forward?
It was definitely disappointing with the squad we had there. I think we had a pretty good shot at going all the way, and it happens. Obviously, life's a lot bigger than hockey, and really you just gotta go with the flow, I guess, and come in next year, just keep playing well and continue.
That team last year had two pretty good players on it, Michael Benning and Carter Savoy. What was it like playing with those two guys, and do you still stay in contact with them now that they're drafted and playing in the NCAA?
Yeah, it's been awesome. They're probably my two closest buddies on the team last year, so I've stayed in contact with them, and yeah, it's been good. Those guys are hell of players, and it's fun to watch them last year, that's for sure.
Can you put your scouting hat on for a second here, Ty, and tell us what makes Carter such a great player and what makes Michael such a good player? What is it about their game that you love?
For Mike, it's just the way he can see the ice and make plays. He's obviously has a good shot too, but mostly just his vision and ability to move the play up ice really fast and get into the other end. And then Carter, he's just a scoring ability. Something I've never seen before, and seems like every shot he takes is going in the net. So
let's talk about the organization in Sherwood Park. Adam Manna now the head coach and GM, Jeff Wywitka, the assistant head coach and GM. What have those two guys done for yourself as a hockey player?
They've been great these last couple of years, even last year. They just helped me. I wanted to obviously move up the lineup last year, and it was a tough team to do it, and they just helped me. And Jeff would help me out with some skills before and after practice every day, and they'd always keep pushing me, especially this year. They've really been on my case a lot, pushing me to be that guy and help the team as much as I can.
What do you guys think you learned from the opening weekend there, of this past weekend against Brooks, seeing how you're going to be coming down here to the CRA this weekend for a pair of games?
Yeah, we just got to play our game, I guess. The first game, I think, having such a young team, a few of the guys were pretty intimidated, and that definitely didn't help us in the end there. And then the second game, we kind of settled down a little bit and focused more on our game, and I think that's just what we need to do this weekend is play our own game and see what happens.
I had a front row seat to your goals there on the weekend. I remember the breakaway goal on Friday night. Take us through it. What do you remember from that goal as you were bursting down the ice?
Yeah, I had the puck back in the zone and then hit it, just dished it out to Schaff on the wall, and he hit me flying through the middle, and I was just caught the guys flat-footed, I guess, and was able to get in and tuck it 5-hole.
It seemed like, and talking with our coach after that first game on Friday, he said the final score was not reflective at all of how close the game was. And that's true because halfway through the game, we were tied 2-2. So you guys must have looked at the film from the first half of that game and said, this is what we need to build off of.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I guess the room wasn't too happy. Obviously, losing 9-3 is pretty tough, but we did play a pretty good game, and we thought the score shouldn't have been 9-3 either. It's just we had a couple mental breakdowns there at the end of the second and third, and that's what hurt us.
Ty, like a lot of players in the AJHL, you're also committed to the University of Nebraska Omaha. What have your conversations been like with that school, and what's the timeline on when we can expect you in a Nebraska Omaha uniform?
It's been pretty good. I had a talk to them last week, and they just want to see how the end of the season goes and how I finish off these last few games. So that's going to be a big part, and it's a lot of motivation for me to keep upping my game every day.
Yeah, it's been a school that has really been, I think, trending upwards. You look, they made the tournament this year, and we're seeing some former AJHLers on the team now. From a Brooks perspective, Brandon Scanlon's doing well there. So you must be excited about going to a school that looks like it has a promising future.
Yeah, this is one of the big reasons why I chose Omaha, is because I knew they had a promising future and they're trending upwards on the right path, as well as their coaching staff is unbelievable. And those are two of the biggest things that drew me there.
I know here in the AJHL, we miss the fans. Just bringing to the next point, hopefully we can see a Sherwood Park Spruce Grove game come down the pipe here in the future with some fans back in the building, because it's always lots of fun when those two teams collide. What do you remember about this season, last season, the games against Spruce Grove?
Oh, they were awesome. I think probably half the rink was filled with Saints fans, so it was good. It was loud every time someone scored, and I don't know, I definitely miss the fans, that's for sure.
Would you say, Ty, that's the biggest rivalry you guys have is the Saints? And like, is there another team that even comes close to being your biggest rival?
I don't think so. After the playoffs 2 years ago, after that series, I think we became pretty big rivals, and that just continued on last year. Every game was a hard game, and each team wants to win, obviously.
Lots of fun. Ty, appreciate your time here today. Best of luck the rest of the way this season, and we look forward to following your career when you head south to the NCAA.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, looking forward to having you back down in Brooks this weekend, Ty.
Yeah, thanks.
That will do it for episode 7 of Around the AJHL. 7 episodes, Brandon Ewanchyshyn. We are we've come so far since the first one, but it's been a lot of fun. And thanks to Ty Mueller of the Sherwood Park Crusaders for joining us this week. Brandon, I'm looking forward to another weekend of AJHL action. We're going to get to see Okotoks play Drumheller to kick off their cohort after they sat last weekend. So that'll be a lot of fun to see what happens there. And looking forward to having Sherwood Park down here in Brooks for 2.
You bet. And for the Saints, 2 more games against Drayton Valley. Bonnyville will probably play a more full roster of Whitecourt Wolverines. GP and Fort McMurray will battle it out once again, and Calgary looks to continue their win streak against the old Grizzlies. Nathan, 7 weeks. It's been a pleasure.
Been a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.